Now we're going to talk about the experience section of our resume. And in the experience section of our resume, we're essentially going to break that down into 3 different headings, okay? So the first heading is going to be our project or our school lab experience. The second is our work experience, and the third is going to be our volunteer or extracurricular experience. So essentially the reason why we have 3 types of experience is because most students do not have the technical experience gained from either volunteering or their work experience. So we really want to showcase all the amazing skills that you're gaining here, in your university degree and your program, and really showcase to the employer that you're capable of doing the job because you have these skills and experience necessary. And when we just focus on our work experience and our volunteer experience, we lose that. So this is why we're going to have that there. So we're going to start with our project experience, okay? This is most important because it's our harder, our technical skills that we're trying to showcase. So we can label it projects, but we can also label it labs. So, if you're in mathematics program or again, any of the sciences, chemistry, biology, your experience is mainly going to come from labs. However, if you're in engineering, definitely it's going to come from major projects you're doing, capstones. So we're going to definitely showcase this, and we can label it whatever that makes sense, okay? In this case, the project is a thesis paper, so that's also something that we can showcase. You are always going to start with the title of your project or your lab. And then underneath you can put, like for this, it was done at Lake Ridge Health, but you can put the class name. So let's say, you're in engineering and you're talking about the autonomous rickshaw that you developed. You're gonna, your project title would be autonomous rickshaw, and then your class would be the class that you did it in. If you're in chemistry and you're talking about let's say you're in biology and you've dissected an animal and you're really talking about that, you can have the dissection of whatever, and then the biology class that's in. And again, chemistry, it might be the lab on, using the microscope to understand different things that you guys do within chemistry. And then it's going to be the start and the end date, or you can just put the semester. So you can have, fall, let's say fall 2021 or winter 2020 or whatever semester that class was in. And so underneath of this, you're going to see a bunch of bullet points. Now, those bullet points are essentially called impact statements or accomplishment statements. And they essentially showcase all of the amazing and wonderful things that you've done within that project or that lab, that show the skills that you have and the accomplishments you were able to achieve. Okay, so ideally we're going to have between 2 and 3 projects up there, and again, they're going to go in reverse chronological order, so the most recent and then backwards. If you have 2 from the same semester, that's awesome. You can put them in any order you want to if they're from the same time frame. Okay, so you would put the most relevant first. I am going to teach you how to create those bullet points. There is a formula to create them once we go over all of the experience and sort of the formatting. So right now we're looking at the formatting, which is again your project title or your lab title or your thesis or your whatever title of whatever it is that you're focusing on that you've gained within school. It could be a simulation if you're in nursing, something like that. Then you're going to have the class name this project or lab is taking place in, and then to the right aligned, you're going to have the dates. You can just stick with the semester. Okay, and then again we have bullet points explaining and reverse chronological order, so most recent first. Okay, and then after we're done our project experience, we're going to move into our work experience. So here's an example of what 2 things look like. So I am going to make the assumption that the first one, the research assistant, is the most recent experience because it's the highest up on there. Okay, so they have the title, they have the company name that they've done that, and then dates are always right aligned. And again, those lovely bullet points explaining what we've done, which I will go into further detail. Okay, so again, our second work experience here, again, I'm going to assume it's taken place after the research, or sorry, before the research assistant position, because it's second in line. And then you have the job title name, and you have the company underneath of it, and dates to the right, and then again those lovely bullet points. Okay, and after we've done our work experience, then we're going to move on to our volunteer experience, and it's formatted the exact same way as our project and our work experience. We have our title, our volunteer title, and I ideally would like to call this volunteer and extracurricular experience, so things you're doing within your school as well. So we have our title and our dates to the right, and then the location that we did this experience at. So let's say you're a student ambassador, it could say, ambassador, and then underneath of it would be Ontario Tech University, and then again the dates to the right. Let's say you're on the racing team, again it's going to be there. Perhaps you volunteered with any society and you've done something. Maybe you're on the student union or in sort of clubs or societies, and you're going to have that there as well. Okay, so any volunteer or extracurricular experience, again in reverse chronological order, the most recent being first and then backwards. And that's the end of the formatting the work experience. And now we're going to go into how to formulate these bullet points. So the STAR technique essentially emphasizes the formula in which we are essentially creating those bullet points. Okay, so our action statements or accomplishment statements, or impact statements. There are many different words for them. So we're going to use this skill, task, action, result formula, and I'm going to break this down and explain it to you and how it's used. Okay, so essentially when we're starting off the sentence, we always want to start off with an action verb. Okay, and in each work experience, each unique work experience unit, like we're only going to use the same action verb once. Okay, so for example, we have managed, designed, developed, communicated, collaborated, trained. So we're trying to think of, okay, if I worked at, again, let's say use Subway for instance, perhaps I trained another employee. So that's a skill I've gained. Perhaps I communicated with customers. Perhaps I collaborated with my team. So those are all amazing skills that I want to showcase. And I'm always going to start off with that action verb describing the skill that I've gained. Okay, once I've described the skill that I've gained, I need to describe the task or the action that I performed. Okay, so example, perhaps, I trained people. So, we're going to start off with that action verb, and then the task itself would be what we did to train that person. Perhaps we went through new staff orientation. Perhaps we showed them, the order on which things are done, whatever task it was. And then the result or accomplishment of that. So maybe that person was able to then work on their own, within a day's training, or maybe they, really felt comfortable. So what is the result of of that, task that we've done? And really, whenever we can quantify this, it really helps. So I'm going to give you an example. So perhaps our skill that we're really focusing on, or we want to showcase, is customer service. We want to really showcase that we have strong customer service skills. Okay, that's awesome. So in our bullet point, we're going to write strong customer service skills gained through the interactions with customers, resulting in high customer loyalty. So that's awesome. That's an awesome bullet point. But when we quantify it, so we can say strong customer service skills gained through the interactions with customers, resulting in a 98% customer satisfaction rating. When we quantify things, it really helps us showcase that it's not just our opinion, but it's actual concrete factor evidence. Like, this isn't just me saying this, this is actually, a result of something, and I can quantify that result. So it's the same thing if you're talking about perhaps sales. Maybe you have really great sales skills, but talk to me about meeting those targets. Were you able to exceed your targets and quantify those? So I was able to achieve, a sales rate of 110% of our quota. Give me those actual quantifiable results. And if you can't, that's okay. We still want to quantify throughout these accomplishment statements wherever possible. So say we're working within a team, we want to quantify with that. So, working within a team of 6, 2, try to quantify. Or maybe we're talking about our presentation skills, or we're going to really, again, quantify that. So delivered a virtual presentation to over 50 participants. So again, when we can quantify, it really helps the employer see what we're talking about, okay? So here's another example. So a lot of times this is what we see. So in this example, somebody came into the Career Center, they worked at Canadian Tire, and in their bullet point under their job was just inventory replenishment. That's all it said. So we really need to change that into a strong impact statement by using our formula. So when we use our formula, it says, utilize strong organizational skills to replenish inventory and ensure proper levels of products were displayed to customers to increase sales, or that resulted in increased sales. So here, our skill is our organizational skills. Our task and action is to replenish inventory and ensure proper levels of products were displayed. And the result of that is an increase in sales. Again, if we can quantify that increase of sales by 10%, that's awesome. If we can't, that's also okay. Okay, so this is the difference between a weak statement on your resume and a strong statement on your resume, which really showcases your results, your actions, what you're able to accomplish. Okay, so that's the end of the STAR format, and I encourage you to practice this and make an appointment with the Career Center.